children and because they're younger and because it's not important to them right now.
Right.
It's only important to us because we're older and it's a whole different, we're in a different space. But to them, they don't care. They think, they don't care if their baseball cards or their sneakers or whatever is all over the place. It's just not important. And I think that's okay because I think that they need to experience that and live through that. Now, my daughter, who is 25, who had her room is always a disaster, is now moving into her own apartment. And I guarantee it's going to be neat as a pin. Because when she comes over to my home, she loves the fact that it's so neat and organized and clutter-free. And I'm curious to see, but I could almost bet on it that it's going to be perfectly organized and clutter-free.
Yes.
Well, I know that we try to teach our children, how to be good adults in all aspects, and one of them is being clean because, of course, you don't want to have the food in your room and anywhere else in the house laying around because of bugs and that. And you just hope and pray that when they do become an adult, all those things that you talk to them and nag them about, as they say, they'll carry through. And I do see that somewhat with my daughter, but the boys are a different story altogether.
Of course.
And I don't know what it is about that. Maybe because they think that they're going to have a woman in their life that's eventually going to take over the mother part.
Right.
Or it just takes them longer to grow up, And especially what astounds me is that my second son just got back from doing 4 years of being in the Marines last April, I believe it was. And you know how tidy they have to be, and cleanliness is a big strong point that they teach them, and organization and that, and the quarter drop on the beds and stuff. And then yet he comes back here and lives with me, and I got to yell at him to pick things up. I'll never understand that.
Right. I think that when he was away in that situation, he has no choice at all. That's just what it is. And then when he comes home, it's more of a relaxed atmosphere, and the pressure is off. And he doesn't have to abide by those rules because he doesn't have to, which is kind of nice when you think about it. He's just being himself.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
He's just
and
being
his
himself.
wife is a cleaning fanatic, so,
right.
Of course he didn't have to do anything when they were living together, but...
Right.
My God.
It's a great, great process, and I would never expect for anybody to be as organized as I am. I mean, I'm very organized, but it works for me. My spices are organized. They're alphabetized, but I like that, But I would never expect anybody to be anyway. Everybody needs to live the way that they are comfortable with. And if I walked into a home and it was cluttered and there were piles everywhere, but the people that were living in the home were so happy and so fulfilled, what's the difference? It doesn't matter. The point is that, for me, is that you need to be comfortable in that space. And if you're not, you need to change it. It doesn't matter what it looks like, how it's decorated, or where you live, but you need to love it. And you need to feel fabulous in that space, because that's the only way that you're going to be successful out there, is if you feel fabulous externally with everything on the outside. Then we start working on the internal stuff.
Yeah, so very true. I think that when your surroundings are in order, it's a good feeling, and it's a great boost to your self-esteem and your confidence, and then it makes you realize it's empowering that
Absolutely.
it works. It starts working on your inside, and because if your life is in disarray, and I've always said that a lot of times if there's a lot of dysfunction going on with you internally, then your outward surroundings are going to be just much because they're going to kind of mirror what's going on. But if it can work in an opposite way, that if you get everything in order, it kind of helps to make you get to a place of peace within as well.
It does. You have to take care of the external work. You have to start with the home first and get rid of the negativity and clutter first. And, this is why I love what I do, because I have been able to take what I love, what is easy for me, what is fun, and help to change people's lives and have them become happier and more fulfilled in their lives. I've even had clients that have lost weight, that haven't been able to lose weight for years, but as they started to declutter their homes, it was easier to be able to declutter their bodies.
Well, and I would imagine, too, that one of the amazing things, especially, I can see from recently going through this myself, is that, when you start cleaning out and you're decluttering, you come across things that you forgot you had, and it's like, oh, my gosh, and it's kind of like a little treasure chest, adventure that you're on, but it also makes you realize, like, take, for example, your closet is full of clothes that you've had packed in for over a year, and you start pulling stuff out, and you're like, why do I still have this? And, you put it in the take to donation pile. And it is amazing how you realize that the stuff you think you need and the stuff you've accumulated, you don't need as much as you think you do. And it's so freeing when you can turn that over, or when you realize just how insignificant it is. One, because it's not been thought of and you forgot about it, and two, you can release it, and it's not something that you have to hold on to. And so that is a very freeing feeling as well. A very good friend of mine, she was telling me that she has a family member that they have just they got into this habit of buying off shopping channels and just accumulating a lot of material things, and to the point that now they're hoarders and they won't hardly leave their house. And so my question to you is, in your experience as doing this, have you had situations like a hoarder situation where you've gone in and just had to do a massive overhaul?
I'm actually working with a client like that right now, and I've been working with her, I believe, since the summer, June or July. And when I first got there was no place to sit. There was a dining room table, but you couldn't sit there. There were couches. You couldn't sit anywhere in the living room or the dining room. There were just piles and piles. The same thing with the bedroom. The whole apartment was piles, almost really to the ceiling of stuff.
Oh, my.
And it was just so hard to see. However, when I was there yesterday, and we work together every 2 weeks mostly. Sometimes we'll go every week, but mostly every 2 weeks we're together. And, of course, all my clients get homework after my session with them. And when I was there a couple of weeks ago, she was so excited because we cleared the dining room table, and when her husband got home, he was so excited about being able to sit down for dinner. The next night, he brought flowers, and he's been bringing her flowers, every week since, because he's just so excited that they're sitting down at a dining room table to have a meal. And it's amazing. And then when I was there on yesterday I saw more of the living room floor than I've ever seen in the past 6 months. That's how much stuff we're getting rid of, massive amount of stuff. And it was a lot more in the beginning because it's easier in the beginning to get rid of because there's just so much stuff.
Right.
And as time goes on, it gets a little bit more difficult because it's difficult for these people to let go. Let go. It's very difficult. And they're not, a true hoarder. These are not things that you and I would hold on to. They're just, things like, bags and bags of soaps from all the hotels. Bags and bags. More soap than you can ever use in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're not, I have a client that has more hats. I think she could probably wear one hat for 6 months and never repeat.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's an obsession. It's an obsessive thing to have so much, and not being able to let go is very difficult. And I tell my clients, a lot of my clients, I have to put them on spending freezes, and say, listen, no more spending. You cannot buy anything, because that QVC, Home Shopping Network, is dangerous.
It's
because
addictive.
A lot of my clients, it's addictive, and they can't stop. And I've had clients where, if they do buy something, they have to get rid of something, and they know that, But I have no choice but to be difficult. That's why they're hiring me in a certain,
right.
to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it works.
Well,
and it works.
And it sounds like that's exactly what they need, and it's becoming a very successful thing for them. They're in the end, they're very glad, that they went through that.
It's amazing.
And then I think about all the stuff, someone who hoards massive amounts of material items. I think about all the, the things that get donated, if it's donatable and it's salvageable in a way, how many people could actually benefit from that,
It's wonderful, yes.
And then that has to give them a good feeling, even though their hardest part of all of it is letting go of the stuff. Otherwise, they wouldn't be hoarding it to start with. But to get them in a place in their minds and hearts of realizing, hey, it's kind of like donating blood. It's like, you're doing something for the good of someone else. And
absolutely.
Being able to see outside of themselves, and I would imagine that is probably one of the most freeing things someone who's in that situation can possibly go through, to be able to just be out from under literally all of that.
Yes. It's extremely freeing, and you really become a new person. You really do. I mean, it's addictive because of the feeling. You see, like my client yesterday, the bedroom, she said she will never, ever, ever have the bedroom back to what it was because it feels too good. It's like she said she's like on speed. She feels so good. See, because all the energy in that room is good. Right. It feels wonderful. Who wouldn't get addicted to that? It's like you're high. It's like, she says, I don't know what got into me. She says, I just can't stop. I says, you know what? It's fabulous. She's making her husband crazy because he can't put anything down anywhere. But she says, I don't care. She bought a new refrigerator. I tell you, I walked in. She even, had the refrigerator, organized. And it's wonderful. It's really, really, really wonderful, and it's important for all of, you out there that are listening, because I know that so many people are saying, gee, but I don't know where to start, and I can't do it, by myself, but you can do it, and you need to realize that if you are not happy, and I know I can't keep saying this, but that's really the key, because once you realize that you're not happy in a space, change it. It's going to change your whole life, your whole day, just to get rid of the things that are not necessary.
That's right.
Well, I would imagine that, most of the people that you've helped get organized in their life, all aspects of their life, have stayed true to that. But have you ever found any of them that have relapsed and you had to go back and help them again?
Yes. A lot of clients, it depends on the situation. I could work with a client for a year, for a month. It depends on the situation. I had a husband that hired me as a surprise to do his wife's closet, and I never met her, and of course I didn't get rid of anything, but I just organized it, and she was overjoyed. She couldn't even imagine that her closet could look like that. But then there are the clients that I do finish the job with, but then they will hire me back like just for the season changes.
Okay.
Just to change their closets over. But basically, I don't remember really